Back to that story in Colorado that we've been telling you about. 8 people hurt in a fire attack at a walk to call attention to hostages in Gaza. So let's bring in Jonathan Greenblatt. He is the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, and he joins me now to talk about this. Jonathan, it's good to see you, although under these circumstances, often when you appear on my screen, when you and I are talking, oftentimes it's around tragedies like this. As you know, this incident follows that horrific double murder of a young couple in Washington, D.C. Just last month. So what are your major concerns in the wake of these violent attacks?
Well, thank you for having me on, Vlad. And again, my first concern is for the 8 victims of this firebombing. We understand these people in their mid-50s to their late 80s, one of whom is a Holocaust survivor. So God willing, they will all recuperate and be okay, although 2 of them, I'm told, are in critical condition. But my real concern, Vlad, is when we pull back the lens, we see this pattern. You alluded to the attack a week and a half ago on these the young couple, these 2 individuals who were shot and killed in the back as they walked out of the Capitol Jewish Museum. 6 weeks ago, Governor Shapiro's home in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania was firebombed by an attacker. In all 3 of these incidents, the attackers said they were wanting to, quote, free Palestine or free Gaza. The attacker yesterday in Colorado, the FBI reported, not only say free Palestine, he said, I want to end all Zionists. He accused these elderly people of being baby killers. So I think we're seeing an environment of incitement, of like ugly anti-Zionist rhetoric, like baseless anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and it creates the conditions, Vlad, in which Jewish people don't just feel vulnerable, as we see, they are vulnerable, likely to be harassed or assaulted or even killed simply for who they are.
So there, as you know, has been recent data revealing the frequency of anti-Semitic incidents over the last few years. The FBI, in testimony after testimony before both houses of Congress, indicate that anti-Semitism is one of the issues that they have spent not just in recent years but decades trying to combat. Is it so? Do you feel that their efforts have been for naught, because we continue to see these incidents almost on a regular basis now? And meanwhile, the FBI is oftentimes focused on internal politics, or politics as the president of the United States seeks vindication against his perceived enemies, but not on these threats that are hurting everyday Americans.
Well, look, I can't speak broadly to all things the FBI is doing, and to the comment you made about the internal politics there. I will say that the ADL has had a long relationship with the FBI. Lots of directors. They've always been very good at these issues. Kash Patel called this a domestic terror attack last night. They referred to it as a hate crime, which it clearly was. And as you have up on the screen, the surge of anti-Jewish hate crimes is astonishing. I mean, up nearly 400% in the last 5 years, up more than 900% in the last decade. Last year was the highest count we've ever seen. We've been tracking this stuff for nearly half a century. I'll say something else. In an environment where you have graduation speakers spreading blood libels, in an environment where you have social media influencers making baseless claims, people like Hassan Piker over on Twitch, or there's others on TikTok and Instagram saying wild, baseless things about Jews, about Zionists, about Israelis. Vlad, I worry that this could even get worse. So I think we really need tech platforms to step up and stop, lifting up these intemperate voices. We need elected officials to speak out. We need people from all walks of life to stand with their Jewish friends and neighbors today, maybe show up for their own walk next weekend and say we won't be intimidated by the bigots.
Such an interesting point that you raised, Jonathan, when you talk about the rise of misinformation and anti-Semitism and just outright racism that we now see on social media platforms, all under the guise of free speech and not censoring voices. Do you believe that because I look at social media now and many of these platforms, I mean, the dominant characteristic that I see is what you're describing: anti-Semitism, racism, misogyny, and the spread of misinformation. So how to combat that? What is the ADL doing? I mean, are you having conversations with the leaders of these companies to at least try to remove that nefarious content from their platforms?
Yeah, Vlad, we've talked about this before over the years. I think social media is a super spreader, as you said, of anti-Semitism and racism and all kinds of hate. Unfortunately, companies like X and Meta have retreated from content moderation in recent months, introducing these community notes, which is by no means a panacea. I mean, Vlad, it's a little crazy that the most sophisticated, profitable companies on the planet Earth are outsourcing content moderation to the users. So yeah, we are seeing a rampant, just explosion of hate. We are not only talking to the companies themselves, we're talking to the regulators. I mean, I think it is time for government to step up here. These companies are, they say too big to fail. These companies are too big to just leave alone. I mean, they're almost monopolistic. And again, they allow for this unmitigated rise of the kind of hate that explodes in real life, just like you're seeing on the screen. So yeah, it is time for these companies to demonstrate the same kind of accountability that we see in other media businesses and simply, knock the Nazis, knock the anti-Zionists off the platform once and for all.
Excellent point. Jonathan, really quickly before we go, has the ADL or have you reached out to the victims' families in Boulder?
Oh, yeah. Like, we're on the scene. I was texting with Governor Polis last night, with the Attorney General Weezer. And as well, my staff on the ground in Boulder are engaged with the community right now as we speak. Again, our hearts go out to them, that everyone there should be able to recuperate from their wounds and whatnot and be able to march next weekend in peace, as they've done now for 600 some odd days.
Jonathan Greenblatt, thank you very much as always, friend. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.